Ah, yes. It is Wednesday. It is high noon Eastern Time. Of course, this is the High Noon Hemp Show. We're in many places live, as always. The Hemptations Beach Facebook page, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and we're on at Hemptations or at Hemptations on Twitter. Of course, the podcast, the audio version, many places as well. Podbean, Google Play, iHeart Radio. There's no excuse for missing the show, the High Noon Hemp Show. I'm Joe Clare. Of course, you can Google me if you care enough to. The man himself, high above the Hemptations location in Sharonville at the Hemp Quarters. It is beach. How are things on this very cold but getting warmer morning in the Cincinnati area?
They are glorious. I don't know what I just did to my iPad, but I totally turned the screen. I'm not even sure what happened there. But welcome, everyone, to the High Noon Hemp Show. Of course, that's what I get for messing with things during the show. So here we are. I can't see my Facebook feed at all, but that's all right because I got it all right here. It's all right here in the palm of my hand on a good old piece of hemp paper. So again, welcome everyone to the 67th episode of the High Noon Hemp Show. It is high noon. It is Wednesday. I am here. Joe is here. We got quite a bit of news again this week. A lot of news going on. The big stuff in our world right now. Tomorrow we will be celebrating the Gatewood Galbraith Day in the stores. Tomorrow is Gatewood's birthday. If you do not know who Gatewood is, Wikipedia him, find some information online. He was a pro-cannabis. He was Kentucky's worst enemy to anyone that was anti-cannabis. I can't say enough about what Gatewood meant to cannabis in the state of Kentucky alone. The one thing, he was an attorney in Lexington. He ran for governor 5 times. I think one year he got, it was either like 3 or 6% of the vote, which is a lot for an independent.
Yeah.
He wrote a book. He defended cannabis in court and would adamantly, I think the one thing about Gatewood that, really stood for who he was is he would adamantly not try to be discreet when he smoked cannabis. And he was not afraid of law enforcement. He almost touted, he almost tried to after the first incident which they had, and they got it all worked out eventually. They wouldn't bother him. They just wouldn't bother him. He was a mentor of mine. We shared the stage multiple times until he passed. That's why we celebrate his birthday. The picture that's up now is him in perfect Gatewood mode, which was, man, when he started going, it was just a rant of logic that was unbelievable. He really believed in the individual. He believed in allowing the individual to make their mistakes or to profit or just be good either way. But what a great man. Again, tomorrow we'll have probably a flash sale in the store. So if you're local, and probably I'll try to do something online. I'll put an online code up on the website. We'll probably just do 10% off or something. But hey, honor of Gatewood and everything that he did with hemp. Again, I think that's the one name we don't hear now when you talk about Kentucky hemp, because Gatewood passed before it happened, which breaks my heart because, he should have been there. He should be here now talking and keep pushing us forward with hemp and all those things, because we wouldn't have gotten to the point that Kentucky was if it wasn't for Gatewood. I can tell you that 100% for sure. Again, everything as far as the laws and all that may have changed after he passed, but Kentucky would not have been one of the first states in the country to be putting hemp seeds in the ground in 2014 if had not been for Gatewood and all that he had done over the years as far as hemp goes. It was one of his running stances, so to speak, and one of the huge things that he stuck up for in the world when he wanted to educate people. Making hemp legal was one of the things that he was very good at, if not adamant about. And so, again, tomorrow we celebrate the life of Gatewood Galbraith and everything that he has done for cannabis, including hemp. And so I like to say SIP, smoke in peace. But and I know he is. So, we are still being on the list. February 3rd is the deadline. Let me start over again. February 3rd is the deadline for the City Beat best of voting. So we still have a week and a half or so. So if you believe that any of these things are true, please go vote for us at citybeat.com. Best of. Obviously, we do the pot. We turn the video audio show into a audio show as a podcast, and so we are officially a podcast. All our podcasts are up at iHeart and Podbean and Google something and all that stuff. Joe does a great job of getting it out there, even if I don't know all the places that it is. So nominate us. You might have to write us in because we weren't there last year, and we haven't. I don't know if we've got enough write-ins yet. But the High Noon Hemp Show for podcast. Hemptations is nominated. We have been nominated for these categories for a while now. Green Sustainable Goods, which I would love to see us place in the top 3 of that. That would be great. And we are, of course, the reigning champions when it comes to Smoke Shop.
Right.
So let's try to keep that up for another year so we can continue to brag about that when we need to. And then we get the write-in votes too. And you can write me in Beach from Hemptations. I love I think they just added this troublemaker category, and so I really feel like I really want to be a part of that troublemaker, list. Friend of the environment. I think most people forget that we are a hemp store that sell other products, and we sell hemp because of the environment and because of course it's a superior product to almost everything that you can make out of it to the other. But the real reason is because it's an environment. It is as much an environmental issue to me as anything. Local activist, I think it was pretty active last year. PD stuff and getting out and speaking and making sure I was educating people on the truth. And so it'd be nice to maybe get local activists just this last year, because some years I'm more active than not. And I will have to say that last year with the CBD stuff going on in Ohio, I think I deserve to be on the list for local activists for last year anyway. And then Cincinnatian, that's up to you. There may be more better Cincinnatians than me. I'm sure there are.
I don't know who they would be.
So, but
Pete Rose.
Oh shoot!
Pete Rose is my childhood hero.
So, that's great. I love Pete for every bit. My heart is broken that he gambled on baseball. To be honest with you, I personally have to hold him accountable for that. I was watching my little 5-inch TV in Richmond, Kentucky, the night he broke the hit record.
It was my 6th birthday.
I love him too, but I cannot encourage or condone or whatever the fact that he did gamble on baseball. If it had been another sport, like if he had just gambled on other sports, I'd have been okay. Anyway, if you don't know, folks, Pete's a legend, obviously, in the baseball world and in Cincinnati, and quite controversial as to the fact
Yes.
that he may never. And I think it'll be posthumously that into the Hall of Fame, but I don't think he'll make it in the Hall of Fame while he is alive, even though he was the greatest hitter ever in the game.
Charlie Hustle.
Anyway, that being said, this is to all the kids out there watching. Stay honest and true.
That's right.
If you want your reputation to proceed your
Fame.
life, or even make it through your life. So anyway, last little bit here. The current Edible Ohio Valley magazine is out and in the stores, and there is a great article on hemp. I am quoted in the article. I know the page spread of the hemp, and maybe by next week I'll go through it for sure. But there's a 2-page spread of just hemp product pictures, and I contributed to some of the material in that as well. But they did a great job, of really educating on hemp, and of course there's CBD stuff in there too. But it was about everything, and so thank you, Edible Ohio Valley. I'll get the pictures and the article up on the website, hopefully in the next days, or on Facebook or somewhere out there for everybody to read if you cannot find a hard copy. And so, yeah, do that. On to the product spotlight. I like to say 4 from the store, 1 from my door. So we take a look at just 4 random products from the store, which is Hemptations. If you don't know and you're just tuning in for the first time, we have the largest selection of hemp on the planet, and it is growing weekly, it seems like. It's harder to get new stuff in, but it does seem like we tend to get something new in. Once a week, once every other week. The first product is actually new to the stores, and these are little cigarette holders. Holds your 20 pre-rolled or 20 cigarettes, so to speak. So that's about the size of them, and they match. We just got in some hemp koozies that I did on the show a 3 weeks ago, and so these kind of match the same patterns that are on the hemp koozies. And so, again, new to the store, adding to that largest selection of hemp on the planet. The next product is new to the store, but it's a company that we have been dealing with for a long time, Kentucky Hemp Works. Again, obviously, it's Kentucky grown and processed, as you can see. Anytime we can pick up Kentucky grown or local, United States for that matter. I'm trying to do more. I've always said that that's another reason why we should grow it, so it doesn't have to travel so far. That we are proving already, because we are already putting American grown hemp products on the shelves. Kentucky Hemp Works included. So this is their powdered hemp protein, which is again becoming very popular. We just picked up another local brand of hemp protein, but the protein's becoming more and more popular as people learn more and more about the nutritional benefits of hemp. This kind of stuff you'd put in your smoothie or whatnot, because it has a huge amount of protein by weight, and so you can use just a little to get a lot when it comes to protein. The next product are so, and I don't know. I don't think I've done these yet. I may have. I don't remember. But they're the cat treats.
I don't remember them.
Yeah, I don't remember. I feel like I've done them only because we took some home and our cats love them. At least Wild does. Jack is kind of so with CBD, but Wild comes running when it comes to CBD. And so these are just I think just maybe 5 milligrams per, just a little bit, 1 or 2 milligrams, I forget, but it's just a little bit. They're great little cat treats. But if I lay them out, Wild loves them. Wild will come running if I pull the hemp tincture out, to be honest with you. That cat loves his CBD. And so, anyway, if you have a cat and it maybe gets a little rambunctious, gets a little crazy, or it tends to annoy you, these would be good treats probably to give it because it might calm it down a little bit too.
Yes,
Or
cats are known for that.
an elder, yeah, or an elderly cat.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it could help. And so, anyway, kept treats newish to the store. The next one, again, old company, new product, is the Merry Hempsters CBD Arnica Balm. Um, and so, this is a muscle rub. We know that it helps with those type of things. We know that the Merry Hempsters Arnica muscle rub without the CBD is beneficial because we sold a lot of that before they added the CBD. They really do a good job of putting something together as far as a useful product. As you can see, they are not that expensive. I'm not even sure that price is right, so get in quick before I change that. If that's what it says on the box, because I can't imagine that being correct. But either way, we know it works. I just had an employee who's turned. She told me she's turned over like 10 um, sticks of it to people she knows because she used it, and then she knows they could use it, and so um, that's it's one thing for obviously the employees to sell it to a customer because that's their job, but when they are like out turning it on to their friends, once again, that really speaks for the truth of the products, which we've tried to do over the years. And Merry Hempsters makes a great product either way. Uh, we love them. So there you go, 4 from the store. If you're close, get in. I think the radius was 420 miles. If you're within 420 miles, you should just stop on by any one of the locations.
That's right.
We are online with some products, and I do hope, knock on, that tomorrow, in fact, we're going to get started with beefing up the products on the retail site, planeteverywhere.com, which through hemptations.com as well, if you want to go there and do some shopping. And so I really do want to build that inventory. The last product, we do have these in the store as well, but this is a product from me. This is something I carry when I travel almost religiously. And it's pretty simple, but it's basically just a pipe and lighter pouch. It's got a little Velcro so it folds over. And so if you got to chill them, a decent sized chill them, here you can see the cigar pipe that I tend to carry. Lighter. I've got a big long toothpick in there too. But these were made at the Planet Everywhere no sweat shop, I like to call it, but very convenient. When it's flapped over, you can't see what's in it. You don't know nobody knows what's in it. And you just conveniently put your stuff in your pocket or your bag and go about your merry way. And so there you have it, folks, for the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door. Now on to what I know is just it turns the heads. Like right now, there are people running to the computer if they're in the office and their neighbor is watching the show. I know it.
The fashion event of the week every Wednesday. Because people, before this, I don't know how people got dressed. I don't know what they did. They just random
What
crap they
would they have
threw
done
on
on?
and walked out the door like a
Yeah,
bunch of
it's hard to
idiots.
say. Yeah,
But
yeah, it's
now
true. It's true.
they have guidance with the beachwear segment. We ask the most important question of the day, and you get the most important answer of your day. What are you wearing beach?
That's right, folks. If you're just waking up, you really need to know, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you will know. It is, of course, a little Gatewood inspired. So I wore a fedora. Gatewood wore a fedora every day of his life, I think, as much as I wear a hat every day of my life. He was definitely a hat guy. And probably the only place he didn't wear a hat was in court, I would almost guess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and so I've got my hemp leaf fedora. And I can't believe it's made it this long, but it still made it onto the wearing a different hat a day. This is the last fedora I have, so I might be coming to an end soon. But anyway, I've got my hemp hood lamb jacket on with the super hemp. And again, we printed that T-shirt here with the I call it the super hemp logo. I've got my I cargo pants. If you look closely, you can see my Green Springs technology pen sticking out of my pocket there. Hempsters boxer briefs with some Satori socks and my nicer pair of Wicked Hemp boots, shoes. And so there you have it. If you woke up this morning, you're saying, "What are you wearing, Beach?" Now you know.
Yeah, go get dressed.
It is. It's
Go to bed.
12:20 at 1/22/2020 right now. That's a lot
Indeed.
of twos and ones. So happy 12:20 at 1/22/2020. All right. Anyway, on with the show. Dun, dun, dun. Now on to we do have some some fun news, some fun products I've discovered over the last week or so on the old internet and some other stuff. This first one is and I love this. It's a hemp composite container, and I want to thank Kate Curley, who is quite in the hemp world. But this is from Buffalo Hemp Company. But obviously, these are hemp containers they're using for their packaging. So I love that. We're going to see a lot more hemp packaging. I'm getting asked about hemp packaging more and more these days, and so it's great to see hemp composites being used as packaging, because that's one less plastic piece of material that we don't need in the world. Again, this should be biodegradable, should just break down whenever they're done using the packaging. So kudos to Buffalo Hemp Company for using hemp composite packaging. This next one is kind of fun. This is more on the art side of things. And when I say that, it's probably because this lamp is very expensive. But this is from Craig Bayans, craigbayans.com. But this is a hemp wood hourglass lamp, as you can see. Now, I have just seen, and I'm going to have to go double check, but I've just seen some of the prices for the hemp wood. And just the hemp wood alone is vastly expensive, I've seen so far. And so I can only imagine, I didn't check the price of this lamp, or even if it was something, I guess it's available. They didn't have the prices on the outside to click, but it's very cool. I love the idea. It's not a tree. A tree didn't have to die to make that very cool hemp wood lamp. And so, I would use hemp material for the top, go all hemp, but, one step at a time, I suppose. But I will hopefully be building some stuff with hemp wood soon enough, coming from Kentucky, because there is, if you don't know, again, a hemp wood plant processing hemp wood materials, making hemp wood materials, selling hemp wood materials down in Kentucky. So we're going to see more and more of that. Although again, it's very expensive, but it's very it's much more unique looking than I expected it to be. Only because I'm used to the press board, and so what they're doing with the hemp wood, the pattern of the hemp wood, is much more unique than I expected it. And so kind of what the process is there. But good for them. I'm not saying this is, I only assume that this is, because this is what I've seen. But we are American grown, process made hemp wood materials. And so moving forward there. Another product, I don't have a picture for this one, so you can picture it in your head. But John Lewis, and this is actually a product that's in the UK. I can see this coming to the United States soon, but it's actually a hemp mattress, and it's actually using hemp as the filling, I believe, for the mattress. They're calling it the first circular mattress, and when they say circular, what they really mean is recyclable, biodegradable, reusable, all of those things. And so, the mattress wears out. You can You can recycle some of the materials. You could reuse some of the materials. I suppose that inner bedding may still be reusable for something one way or another. And so, really what they're saying is it's carbon neutral, so to speak, because it can be returned quickly. The carbon that it extracted can be returned quickly, and and go back to nature, so to speak. So that's kind of fun. I've seen some other hemp mattresses out there in the past. Never, picked one up, but and I know that there was another mattress company was using, I believe, hemp in its filling in some way or another, and so that's a good thing again as far as a. I can't believe I'm regenerative, so to speak, not regenerative. I don't know. Sustainable. Man, I can't believe I just forgot the word sustainable. I won't apologize to the audience. I used the word like 17 times a day, and I couldn't come up with it. So very sustainable, need good. Most of us sleep on a mattress, so
Yep.
a sustainable mattress would be great in every household. This is kind of fun. Cornell University just did a study in New York on the New York hemp fields and found that plant height in the hemp fields affected the abundance of bees. Now we already knew because they out in Colorado they found, and I don't know if it was about the same, but I know they found 16 species of bee living amongst the New York hemp fields. And I know there was close to that, I think, is what they found in Colorado too. But just a little bit of increase in height in plant drove like a 17% increase in the bees coming in. And so, if nothing else, the real lesson here is hemp is good for bees. I don't know how long it's going to last because the USDA approved some pesticides for hemp recently, but up until now, I didn't need it, and so that's why the bees are getting an all natural pollen, which has got to be healthy. And of course, hemp pollen is healthy because it's hemp. We'll have to figure out the nutritional value of hemp pollen soon enough, I suppose. And how that affects the honey itself, which would be interesting. And again, I'm not talking about a high THC. I'm talking about an industrial hemp, low THC plant. So interesting stuff there. I believe I have talked about this before, and I don't know, but I just saw another article about the Allura, and it may have been a different site somewhere, but the Allura agricultural site, which I believe is somewhere in India. What they found is because they used a hemp clay plaster in the materials when they were building this site originally, it lasted twice as long as most sites that were equivalent to the situation, I guess. And so, this was, I don't know how old this site is. I should have done a little bit more research. I just came across this again. I don't know what the site is. But once again, the archaeologists basically proved that because they used this specific hemp clay plaster, that this site lasted twice as long as the others. So, once again, as a building material, I don't know how we ever or why we ever as a planet got away from using it, but if you really, that's just proving that if you really want something to last and you want to use this, once again, sustainable, I'll use the word, I don't forget at that time, hemp is a great material for that. And so still more proof that building with hemp is the future of building as it was the past. In certain parts of the world. This is kind of interesting. China must buy hemp from us under the new trade agreement. And so it was hemp is, they call it true hemp for some reason in the agricultural part of it. And this is all part of a bigger picture, demand or extortion. I don't know how you want to look at it. Making making the Chinese buy more agricultural goods from us. So we're going to export more agricultural goods to them, and they have to do that. But true hemp, as they called it, true hemp was specifically mentioned agricultural crops that we will be selling to China. The irony there is it's raw material, okay, or processed, which is interesting. Okay, so it has to be raw or processed, but it can't be spun. So what they're saying is, with the processed, obviously, is that may be CBD, depending on whether we ever sell them that, maybe food product. But the spun or not spun means that they just want the raw materials to make fiber material from, which they're going to make into fiber material, and then we have to buy back from them and pay some stupid high tariff on because we're buying the materials back from them. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how it's going to turn out. I mean, the Chinese have developed all these hemp materials for the demand in the United States. And so, I mean, it's great that this is going to drive fiber production, I believe. I think that if you want to get into fiber production, hopefully you would try to keep that here and get it spun here and then made into raw material, so to speak, and then make clothing or tire or seat covers or whatever the heck you want to make out of it. But if you really want to grow, a lot of fiber and export it to China, then this current trade agreement makes it mandatory for them to buy us. So, next year, this year's crop, I should say, 2020's crop, grown in America, shipped to China. So good for us, I guess. I mean, it is going to drive the growing of the crop. I can't argue that it helps the American farmer. People think that these agricultural trade agreements are going to help the American farmer, but all in all, it's just going to help corporate farming because corporate farming runs American farming. And so the small farmer is not going to see any benefit to an agricultural trade agreement with China. All this is doing is guaranteeing more money into the pockets of the corporate farming. But you got to take the good with the bad with the good, because that's the world, and yada, yada, yada. There we have it. Speaking of how messed up the government hemp stuff is, for that matter, Kentucky is basically, in my opinion, this is a peaceful protest of the USDA regulations, because they're going to deem themselves a pilot program. And so they're going to stay under the current, so to speak, pilot regulations, which I don't think is going to change one thing with how they grow hemp in Kentucky. But because they would have to change some things under the current USDA standards, they said, nope, we're just not even going to file for federal approval, because guess what? We don't have to. Doesn't say that in the Agricultural Act. Okay, it just gives the states the rights, and then so you basically have to follow the basic guidelines of the Agricultural Act, but they are not going to file with the USDA because it would set them backwards. There's a lesson learned there. We tried to get our comments into the USDA, and I think they'll have a little bit of time to do that. I'm not saying they're going to change anything, but this could, I think Kentucky holding out could be because there's some federal bills on certain things that may happen, possibly changing the FDA description of CBD to dietary supplement. That's one federal bill that's being discussed and trying to get passed through. Again, obviously, they would have to set their farmers back going backwards in one of the largest hemp farming states in the entire country if they once again followed the USDA's regulations. Kentucky was doing just fine, and so why would they have to be harder than that anyway? But that's the federal government putting their stamp on it and trying to get as much out of it as they can, I suppose, one way or another. But Kentucky once again has found, and they're smart. Has found a little loophole, and they're just going to continue to do what they're doing under their regulations. And then if the federal government, I suppose, wants to come in and try to do something about their, if they're not following Rule 78.4B-2A to the letter, then maybe the federal government can come in and try to do something. I don't know. So good for Kentucky. Again, to me, this is standing up to what they obviously believe is not the standard of industrial hemp farming that they want in their state, and so our in Ohio, being one of the last states to legalize, we've already been approved by the federal government's program. We were one of the first 3 states, and so then that is why I'm not going to grow hemp in Ohio. It's a bummer. I should have just invested in Kentucky all those years ago, not held out until Ohio did something. Because now that they have, it's not encouraging me to even grow a little bit of industrial hemp. Not even a little bit. And so anyway, there you have it with the news all around the world. And local and all those good things. Got a couple more events coming up in January. Tomorrow, I believe, starts the Ketchum, Idaho contractor training. If you're not there by now, then you're probably not going. January 24th, which is Friday, that's the Growing Hemp in Ohio, which is separating fact from fiction up in Wooster, Ohio. Again, if you're new to the show, I post all the events that I talk, the news and events, on the second page of hemptations.com. So you can go there, and I try to put more information if I know more on location, all that on the second page of hemptations.com. Everything that we do is on the first page. January 27th and 28th, you've got the Hemp Summit in Chicago at the Hilton in Chicago. 28th and the 30th, you've got the Texas Hemp Convention in Dallas, Texas. February 13th and the 15th, back to Ohio again for OFA, the Ohio Ecological Food and Farm Association. But it's in Dayton. They are doing a full session of hemp farming this year at OFA. So if you're in Ohio and you're interested, it'll be a good place to go learn some things too, I am sure. Also then, February 13th to the 15th, if you want to head out to Vegas, Mike Lewis is going to be out in Vegas at the USA CBD Expo. And he is not CBD. He's, probably be a small bit of because he's just hemp farming. That's what he is. He's a hemp farmer, but he's been doing it in Kentucky since day one, and he knows as much about it as anybody on the planet, as far as that goes. So, let's see what else. Maybe February 15th in Kentucky. You got the Kentucky Hemp and CBD Trade Show in Frankfort. February 24th and 25th, we're back to Danville, Virginia for an industrial hemp show. Once again, I need to find some more information on that one. And that's about it. Oh, I'm going to back up a minute. No, that's close. February 14th through the 15th, I just saw this, is the Arkansas Farmers Industrial Hemp Conference in North Little Rock. So if you're in Arkansas, don't know much about the scene in Arkansas, so that might be a good place if you're thinking about growing hemp in Arkansas. Do it. Some people like to call it Arkansas, but that's just probably like, if you're not from Kansas, I don't know. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. That is this week's episode of the High Noon Hemp Show. I am Beach. That is Joe. We love that you were here for the live version. And if you weren't here for the live version, we love that you are listening later, possibly the podcast or the show on the YouTube Jedi Hemp channel. Either way, thanks again. We will see you next week. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you all next week.
Peace.